I gosh, I'm on a tangent already. What makes a good episode of Lost? I'm gonna think about that, and maybe at the end of this, I'll come back to you. Um, what I can tell you what a good episode of Lost is not, and that's this episode, especially in retrospect.
Yeah.
But um, what did you think of this episode?
I, you watched this episode before I did, and you told me that you were not fond, that you did not like it. And
It felt like homework.
it felt like homework is what you said. And I tried not to let that color what I was watching. In fact, I was ready to be like, no, this is going to be a great episode. I'm sure it's going to be fine. And this is, and to the show's credit, it took us 6 episodes to get here, but this did feel like it felt very much like a table setting episode, like it was spinning its wheels a little bit. My idea of what makes a good episode of Lost is I always found the island stuff to be more interesting. But a great episode of Lost has flashbacks that, as you mentioned with Walkabout, really gives you that extra flavor, that extra background that explains the character's actions. Things that without context may have seemed arbitrary or weird. Getting the flashbacks really shows you, oh, that's how the person got to this point. That's why they're doing this. And this episode felt very disconnected. It felt like, and I don't know that this is what happened, but it felt like they had some story points that they wanted to get to later in the season and basically were working backwards. That they put a bunch of plot points that they wanted to set up just in this episode because later on they wanted to make those pay off. It didn't feel organic. It felt like they were just, it did feel like it was just a bunch of random pieces all put together.
Yes.
I think generally the performances were good, but the whole was not worth the sum of its parts.
Yes, 100%. You remember you telling me that yes, beehives can be on the ground. Fine, I'll accept that. Can you tell me what are they trying to achieve with the suitcase?
So what it seems like to me is that Jack is trying to cover the beehive so that when Charlie moves, that the bees won't, freak out. Which, when Charlie breaks the beehive, that plan still should have worked. If he just put the bag on top of the hive, it wouldn't completely mitigate the problem, but the bees would be mostly trapped inside. It seems that everybody just freaked out at the same time because they all hate bees. Look, we needed to get Kate to take her shirt off, Derek. That's what this is about, okay?
That was my second question. Because if I'm covered in bees, I am not losing a layer of clothing.
I think I definitely would. I think I would. But I do search for reasons to get naked all the time. So no, I will tell you. So I think again, what makes a good episode of Lost? What makes a bad episode of Lost? A bad episode of Lost is contrived, and this feels very contrived. It felt like they were looking for a place to put an action beat, and they wanted to have Locke, shadowing Charlie, and to have some idea to give his like wilderness knowledge out. But it just doesn't feel right. It seems like even if Charlie is oblivious and, trying to get away to, do his heroin, I don't know. It feels overly dramatic, which I know is a, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right thing to call Lost because everything is overly dramatic. But yeah, it seems it's not dumb because it's fun, but it's
pretty dumb, and I don't think it translates.